So what the heck should you buy? In front of me here, I have 3 different types of alcohol markers. These are the cheap type of alcohol markers that you can get on Amazon. They're about 100 markers for around $30. And then we have the Ohuhu alcohol markers that come in different brush types. So I like the ones with the chisel tip and the brush tip. This one is a brush tip and a fine tip, and they come in all different types. And then we have Copics. I'm sure you've seen these names thrown around and you're not really sure what the difference is. So I'm going to show you. The cheap alcohol markers are what I started with. And if you're just coloring and you're not doing any art and you're just using it to color your pages and make your coloring pages look really good, I would just stick with the cheap Amazon alcohol markers. Now this one's called Belize Suprema. But they come in all different types. I'm pretty sure that these alcohol markers are the kind that people, like companies, buy and they put their own name on. So you see a lot of these on Temu and Amazon. These ones are available in Canada, and in the US I haven't been able to find the specific brand, but I don't think the brand matters because they're all this cheap Amazon alcohol marker. So these ones, they generally come in a brush tip, a chisel tip and a fine tip. And they come pretty saturated. I have resaturated them with alcohol many, many times, and I've never had to replace them. There's so many different colors that if one color runs out, I just sort of use the next color. And I use them for art and I use them for coloring. So if you're not sure where to start and you're just testing it out, I would say just start with these because they're super cheap. So next we have the Ohuhu alcohol markers. These ones come in all different types. They're a little more expensive than these cheap Amazon alcohol markers. They come in different types, so you can get the skin tone markers, which I have. You can get the pastel, which I have, and you can get a lot of different varieties of alcohol markers, and that's kind of the benefit of Ohuhu, is that it's what they do. So they have a lot of different varieties. They are a good price for the next level up from this. And if you're thinking you're going to use it for art and for coloring, I would say go with the Ohuhu because they offer a lot of different options. The very first set that I bought was a 24 set because I just wanted to test them out. And I wish I had bought a bigger set because I use these all the time. So these ones also come very saturated. I've used this one a lot, this color a lot, so it's not as saturated as the other one. But you can get them in they come in brush tip, fine tip, chisel tip, and brush tip. So there's a lot of different varieties. So that's what I would use as a sort of intermediate, and if you're going to be using it for art. These are also okay for art. I'm not saying you can't use them for art, but these just are a nicer quality. And you have I really like the chisel tip, brush tip combo. And these ones, you don't have the option of picking your different types of tips. So that's the real benefit there. And then there's Copics. And I hear a lot of people talk about Copics and how they think they should buy them or should they buy them. So this is really that conversation. Copics are a professional marker. They are very expensive. So at my local store, they are, I believe, $8.99. But it's Michael's, so you can get like 30 and 40% off coupons and buy the sets, but not a lot of them. There's not a lot of sets there. So I did get my grayscales in a set, which was nice. But these, I paid $8.99 for this marker. So that's really expensive for markers. And if you're just using it for coloring, I wouldn't even bother. If you're going to be selling your art, that is when I started selling my art. That's when I started buying Copics. I love Copics, and they come in this brush tip, chisel tip combo, and the tip is different than these other markers. So it's made of a different quality and it's a different size. I absolutely love Copics, and if all of my markers were Copics, I would be a very happy lady. But the ink is also very expensive. So like the replacement ink. But just the quality of stroke that you get on a Copic versus something like this is just so nice. I can't even, unless it's in your hand and you're actually doing it, It's hard to describe how different it is, but it does offer a really, really nice stroke when you're doing art. So I honestly would not really bother with Copics unless you're taking your art seriously and you're selling it, or you want to become a professional artist, or you're going to be putting your art out into the world. If you're doing coloring books and you're just coloring for yourself and it's going to live inside of a coloring book that no one's going to see, don't bother with Copic markers. So it's kind of one of those things where I absolutely adore, like if all my markers could be Copics, I would 100% have Copic markers for every single color. Their colors tend to be really rich too. That's something that's really interesting about Copics, is there's this quality to their color, and I can't even really put my finger on it. It's just the colors that they have are just so much, I don't even know what the word is. They're just more complex, I guess is the word. They just are just such a nice quality and such a rich color that you get from all of the markers. But I wouldn't buy them unless I was doing art. So that is going over the different types of markers. Now there are other brands out there. These are the ones that I have, so I'm not going to do a review on markers that I don't own, because that's not ethical. So if somebody's doing that, ignore them. But these are the ones that I like. And when it comes to doing art, I really like using the grayscales that come. The Copic grayscales are my favorites because of how the chisel tip is. Chisel tip is thinner than the other chisel tips,